So people now are talking about New Year's resolutions, and according to Alexa, one of the top things people want to do in 2019 is smile more, be more positive.
Let it go.
Yes.
Enjoy yourself. Be
That's
happy.
right. So, but how do we do that? How do we do it?
Well, we have an expert here. We're going to talk about finding more happiness in the new year and reducing stress. Heidi Hanna, the executive director of the American Institute on Stress, is here. Heidi, great to see you. How are you? Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
So all of us feel stressed out. We've got the job, the family, right? Chores around the house, finances. What do we need to do to try to relieve some of the stress?
Yeah, I have to say New Year's is my favorite holiday, partly because it's a perfect time to think about that, like reflect on what's been happening over the last year and really prepare for what's ahead. So everyone says that they want to reduce stress, but yet we're talking about it all the time. And I think it's good in a situation like this to talk about it and help people learn how to manage it more effectively. But in our day-to-day conversations, I think we need to get a little bit more aware of how often we use the word and what we're really trying to say, because stress has kind of become a catch-all bucket phrase for anything that's wrong, and yet it doesn't necessarily mean anything unless we explore or look into what's causing the stress so that we can actually make some changes around the stress.
Okay, so how do we manage the stress?
Right. So I think the first thing is to actually just become aware of how often we use it and see if there's a replacement word. That may sound really simplistic, but even saying something like, I'm experiencing challenges, or I'm feeling like I don't have as much time as I wish I did, then you can actually do something about it. So that's the first thing, is to actually watch the words we use. And the second thing that's really important is to recharge our own energy so that we have more capacity to cope with those challenges. We actually surveyed 25,000 people and found that the number one stressor is the feeling that people don't have enough time. Yeah. So if we wake up and the first thing we think is, I don't have enough time in the day, we're super stressed and we never actually get our brain out of that perspective. So what's most important first thing in the morning is to actually do a recharge exercise where you think about something you feel grateful for, maybe write a nice note to somebody, maybe get outside, spend some time with your pets, and that's going to actually recharge your brain to perceive stress as being less of a big deal.
Sometimes you hear that you should meditate, you should work out, you should spend some time on your own, and I think the problem people have with that is, I don't have time for that stuff. I've got chores to do, I got to pick the kids up, I got to go to the grocery store, I got to do the dishes. So how can you kind of figure out that maybe that helps in that area?
And that's the key thing. It's that, like, the busier you are, the more stress you have, the more you need to recharge your brain. Because how stress affects us is really based on the lens through which we see our circumstances. So if we believe that we have the capacity to cope because we're meditating, we're exercising, we're eating a healthy diet, then we can actually navigate it more effectively. The problem is when we rush into our day, we check our email right away, we're constantly rushing, traffic, it's just building up, and that's where stress really becomes toxic and starts to actually hurt our health and our performance.
Okay, we have a lot we've got to organize by tomorrow.
That's right.
To not be stressed.
Take your time. Thank you, Heidi. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year.